Hey Tony, now that you're driving in straight lines, you should try one of these. It will help you turn left again.
Well, Donnie, you should try one of these. Just like the lights, when it turns green, mash the gas. You might win another championship. The drive to succeed, the need to win, the desire to be a champion. And we surround ourselves with partners that believe the same. Like Tony Stewart Racing, Sage Fruit strives to be the best in all they do. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears all year long.
You can compare apples to apples, but nothing compares to a Sage Fruit apple. Winning quality in every bite.
Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, the hub of racing. The eyes of the motorsports world are laser-focused here. Every autumn, this dirt track in the suburb of Concord attracts drivers, teams, and fans from nearly all 50 states. All dirt roads lead them here to the World of Outlaws World Finals, World of Outlaws Sprints, World of Outlaws Late Models, the Super DIRTcar Series. There are races to win, champions to crown, only on Dirt Vision, home to the greatest shows on dirt.
With the sound of my voice, that means it is 2:30 Eastern time here in North Carolina. And if you are in the Charlotte area, that means it is go time for day 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals. As we finally get some cars on the track and go racing tonight in earnest. For all of you here at the grounds, we thank you for coming out for Raceday Live, presented by Sage Fruit and the good folks at Milton Hershey School. I am Dave Rieff. Alongside of me is Hannah Newhouse, who joins me today for our hour-long festivities here. And what are your impressions so far of the World Finals?
Well, I know a lot of folks wanted to get that second qualifying session on the track last night, but don't worry, they'll still get that second opportunity on Friday. But many of them ready to just get out there and get that racing action. You know, we just did hot laps in qualifying yesterday, but a very green racetrack that these guys are going to hit today. No hot laps whatsoever. We're sending them out there for their heat races right off the get-go. And again, with how they do the point system this weekend, this is going to set up their Saturday. And with as close as all of our points battles are, a lot of pressure on the next 2 nights.
And for all of our friends watching around the world on Dirt Vision, we hope that answers your question. The remaining qualifying sessions for the Case World of Outlaws, the late model division, and the Super Dirt Cars, that will be part of tomorrow's programs. But for Donny Schatz, who joins us now on the stage, please put your hands together for the 10-time champion. Those guys got both sets of qualifying in. We'll get into the racing here in just a little bit, but Donny, go ahead and grab that microphone and let's warm it up, baby, because you are our star. How are you feeling today?
Well, when our qualifying laps come in, we'll kind of know where we're going to stack up, I guess. That's how bad it was. So we got to dig out of a big hole both nights, and it's just the nature of the beast. But we're getting really good at it, so we'll see what we can do.
I was going to say,
that for a little bit, but try to keep you on a positive note to start.
Well, actually, I was going to say, we can get into that right now. That's been one of the things that, you know, I've had the chance to cover the sprint car season on Pitbull each and every week, and the amount of times that we've said, well, can you take a guess who the hard charger was? And it seemed to be that your name always came up. I know as a driver that gets oh so frustrating, but we as the fans, as the reporters, love to watch you maneuver your way through the field. What kind of has been that missing link in putting a better foot forward in qualifying?
You know, I don't know that there's one thing that it is. There's times that, like last night, I couldn't get out of my own way. I couldn't get up to speed. 100% motor related, but then you have other days where you can't get things to slow down. So it's like we're there on Wednesday, but it's Thursday. It's kind of, so, you know, it's just there's so many different variables. Trying to do so much things when you're part of a development program, trying to get things to where you want them, to where they're more consistent. I guess it's just something that you got to work through those things, and not everything's always going to be to the positive. There's always going to be things that maybe you find out what don't work. So, and then you take nights like last night where qualifying was back to back right away. So you don't have time to make changes really. If we want to change motors,
if you're off on one, you're probably going to be
kind of off on the wrong foot before you get started. So it's just the nature of the beast. But I think you guys hit it best. What this weekend's coming down to, I just didn't realize this till walked up here. 10 points in the big block division for the championship.
Yep.
44 in the late model. I mean, the sprint car thing, it's pretty well done, but it's not till the last lap. So hopefully them guys get that opportunity to go at it right down to the end without having weather or some silly scenario mess with it, because even I'm a fan of late models. I'm a fan of big blocks, and I want to see it come to, I want to see who's going to win it and it come down to the last lap.
The chances are you've got a pretty good cushion above you and a pretty good cushion below you in third. You're going to go ahead and finish in the top 3 for the 17th time in your career. So 10 championships and the other 7 times, top 3. Maybe not what you are used to, but it is still an astounding number.
Well, since you want to talk about that, you have to look at where we're at. We qualified horrible. So if we don't get through those heat races and we don't get through those, don't get in the show, which is highly likely with as many good cars are here and the way we're operating, guy could have to take a provisional one of these nights. Well, that don't count towards your point total Saturday. So, it could dig us a hole, and all it takes, you could gain 40, 50 points in one night in one feature. So don't say that third's there yet, even though it's 100 above. It's right now, I kind of feel like that's what my job is this weekend, to do whatever the hell I have to do to salvage running third, which in my mind, I'm sitting here, feel like a lunatic doing that, but unfortunately, that's what I'm in the face of today.
Well, let me help you out here. I'm gonna poll the fans that are out here. By show of hands, how many people think that he's not going to get in a position tonight? We know what to expect out of Donny Schatz, and I hope that doesn't put extra pressure on your back, but again, like Hannah was saying, we love watching you do things that modern, normal people cannot do.
Yeah, and it's fun to be able to do those things. It's just fun when you have a little more, when you're a little bit more confident in what you got underneath you in being able to do that. So, it's, at this point, I've been around 28 years. That's what you do. No matter how mad you are, no matter how upset you are, or how happy you are. When you put the helmet on, you got to be that person that just continues to do what you do. And if it's past cars, it's past cars. If it's start up there and make sure you make great laps and do the right things, and that's what it takes. So I enjoy that part of it. I was just raised that way. That's when I started, my father made me start at the back for that very reason. He didn't want me, to get that in my mindset that you got to start there, but it sure as hell helps in today's environment.
Yeah, and Charlotte, of course, is a beast all of its own, with all of the extra cars that show up here, everything that's on the line for everyone. But as if your plate hasn't been full enough running the full World of Outlaw Tour, I already saw them running around here this weekend. Your nieces are here. I've seen them behind the wheel of late models. I've seen them behind the wheel of sprint cars. How active are you in them on the weekends that they are at the racetrack, and kind of being behind the scenes in that? Because, they are busy girls. They're in a race car every weekend.
Well, I'm active on the financial side, obviously. But I've also been active in trying to maybe hold them back a little bit from what their desires and their passions are. If anybody that, when I was young, my father, we were on go. We were just went, and it was a different time. And I look back at it and say, did we do it right? Yeah, I think we did. I think I've, had a pretty decent career. But I think if I look back far enough, I think my younger years were the ones where we raced so hard that I didn't even keep up to speed. I didn't learn from one to the next. We were just go. And I think in today's environment, with the way everything is and the opportunities they get, they have to race and then analyze that race, whether it's that weekend to the next weekend, or not saying they can't race multiple days in a row, but then there's 2 of them, and they want to do different cars. One of them seems to really like the late models, and the other one likes the sprint cars. And I can help them in the sprint car because I feel like I know what I'm doing. But the late model, I have one for fun, but I feel like a fish out of water, and they're so technical in that. But I think Amelia is actually better than I am in that thing already. So, and I got way more laps than she does. So it's time to get them going. Let them go out and do that, but I want to make sure when they do go race that they learn from every lap and every mistake they make, because that's something that lacks in today's environment is no one wants to acknowledge the mistakes. They just kind of act like it didn't happen, whether that be a dad saying, oh, you didn't do nothing wrong, or, yeah, we need pats on the back, but we also can't lie to ourselves when we make a mistake or do something silly. You got to learn from it so you don't make it again, or you'll continue to make it. So I'm pretty hard and pretty critical on them. I think they'll tell you that.
I gotta believe you were brought up exactly the right way. You had some time. It's an instant gratification world we're living in, and there are a lot of very talented kids. Do you worry about them burning that fuse out too quick?
You got that right. There are so many talented kids, and I've been very critical of them because I've been drove over by them and this and that. And back in my day, I can tell you right now, if I drove over Steve Kinzer, I knew what was going to happen. I can sure as hell tell you.
Was it a right or a left, or both?
I sure glad I never raced against Jack Hewitt, because I don't think there's anybody that got the better of Jack Hewitt that didn't get a knuckle sandwich.
He's always a good soundbite, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's different in today's environment, and you got to think about it a minute here. If you're an adult and you're racing against a kid that's underage, this could turn sideways in a hurry. So that's just the way it is. Kids are younger, they're better. You know, when you do something enough, like I say, you race over the edge. And I used to say that about Sheldon, and I used to say it about Carson Macedo. But these kids have done it, and they've done it long enough to where they've perfected it, and they've gotten really good. And I admire them for it. I couldn't do that. And maybe that was my problem, is I didn't go over that edge far enough. I raced the way I raced. But you take those two, for example, and then you add Gio Selzy in there that's been there that entire time, and you take Buddy Kofoid, what he's doing right now is pretty phenomenal. So, man, you can't sit and shake a stick at today's position in the sport, and there's a lot of great kids across the country but I only get to see the ones we race against on a daily basis. So that's why I, depict those guys. And I guess any one of those guys on any given night, when you finish in front of them or beat them, you actually feel like you accomplished something. And I grew up racing against Steve and Sammy and those guys, so it's even today's environment, it still feels pretty special to beat those kids because they're good.
Now I want to pivot here because we just released yesterday the 2025 World of Outlaw Case late model schedule, and there was a racetrack on there that I got a chance to do a review with Steve Francis, our series director, and it's called Noak. And I looked at it and I said, where in the world is Noak Speedway? And he goes, when you see Donny this weekend, I want you to ask Donny, because he was kind of the nudge behind Noak. Western North Dakota, the farthest
Central
west.
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. But he said, go find Donny and ask Donny, because you actually grew up there, and you said it's going to be one of the nicest grandstands that you go to. What can you kind of tell me about Noak? What am I going to expect when I roll into Noak?
That's one of the greatest cities in the world, and I guess that's because I grew up there. I think everybody's proud of where they grow up. Their racetrack. We've had World of Outlaw sprint car races there. It's been a number of years, but to see what the community supported there for a lot of years, they've been thriving to get a big show back. Yeah, they get their modified tours that come through there in the summer, and I'd spoke with Steve Francis, and the race club was interested in having a show, and somehow I ended up in the middle. I'm not sure why, but I kind of vouched for them to, it's a great place, and they're going to put on a great show, even though it's a pretty healthy drive for everybody. But now you guys can feel what it's like for us sprint car guys when we do those 4.5-hour drives overnight. So, but you'll enjoy it. It's a great place. You guys will all be able to go over and get some 99s at the crossroads before you leave town and fuel up and experience where I got to grow up and meet some of the great fans up there. So I'm pretty happy for them, and hopefully someday we get back there with the sprint cars, because it's definitely an awesome facility and a great racetrack.
Quickly running out of time. So many things I wanted to talk about. I was just in Fargo last week. Wanted to give you a call. Wanted to talk a little bit about the airplane. We know you're flying. Thank you for taking the Dirt Vision crew up this year. But as you mentioned, why Steve Francis talks to you? Well, you're kind of a spokesman. You're kind of a guy that knows his way around the business of motorsports. And you're kind of the spokesman now for the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series. Big, broad picture. We've been talking about how good sprint car racing has been for so long. What's the state of the union as we get ready to close the books on 2024?
Well, you can criticize me for this if you like, and it doesn't seem to bother me. I've had rocks thrown at me, but I've been kind of nervous about this all year, because the way motorsports is, and a lot of people don't look at it from the business side when you're a racer. When you're a young kid, you don't care about what's in the stands. You don't care. You just, you're getting a car, put your helmet on, you do your thing. But 100% of this sport is funded on expendable income, something that has been very short for everyone the last several years. So I've had that in the back of my mind, and it's what's probably had me a little bit of reservations on how we have 2 national touring series, because there's only so many fans, there's only so much money to go around. But I think that took a turn for the better on Tuesday, and I think that race, because you could look at it any way you want, but I think if things didn't go the way they did, they were probably going to be on a downward decline, because expendable income is what funds these cars. It's where the sponsorship, it's what you fans pay to get in. It's buying T-shirts, it's everything. That's what this is 100% predicated on. It's not a necessity. This isn't like a healthcare facility, and it's, you know, this is what we do for fun. And if you don't have the funds to spend on it, well, it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. So I think the state of the sport is great. I think it's the level of competition is great. There's obviously a lot of things that I'd like to see different, but I think if you take 10 people in this stage, you're going to get 10 different opinions.
Sure.
So which one's the best? I don't know. I guess you just have to roll the dice on that, and if more people agree on this, then you do it. That, you know, that democratic process, and I think that's what you have in all of this. So I'm in a happy spot with it. I think it's great. I've been asked 100 times, when are you going to be done? When are you going to be done? I wish I had the magic answer.
No, you don't. No.
But I think seeing where it's at, I'm going to be here for at least 4 or 5 more years.
That's what I'm talking about. And yours is an opinion we appreciate, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Donny Schatz, we're going to let him go. We got a busy stage show coming your way today, but we definitely appreciate your opinion. Thank you very much for that, Donny. We're going to take a quick time out for those of you watching on Dirt Vision. Come back in about 2-3 minutes. We're going to flip the script, get a couple of Super DIRTcar Series racers up here. The last 2 rookies of the year will join us. Who are they? We'll tell you when we come back.
Welcome to our world. A world of dirt, drift, and dodging fate. A world where all of motorsport collides. A world of digging deep, of grit, glory, and bitter defeat. Inhabited by the strong, the fearless, the barely sane. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of NOS.
Outlaw champion.
Hey everybody, find my merch at any Midway at any racetrack I'm at, or you can visit my online store at bobbypierceracing.com/store.
It's ARP fasteners for whatever you race, from 2 wheels to 4. Off-road, on-road, even water, from the flat track to the salt flats. Grassroots racers, weekend warriors, and pros alike trust ARP. Made in America quality, family-owned and operated. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com. No matter what you race.
We don't sit in an ivory tower, keeping our boots clean. We're in the dirt with our customers, getting dusty to help them win. We're here to break out, to dig deeper, push harder, and reach higher, to earn our customers' trust. We're the new case.
It is Raceday Live from the Sage Fruit stage, presented by the good folks at Milton Hershey School, that continues to roll on, building closer and closer to tonight's first night of actual racing, day 2 of the World of Outlaw World Finals, along with Hannah Newhouse, Dave Rieff, joined now by a couple of the youngsters, the up-and-comers, if you were, in the Super DIRTcar Series. You think this category's got any problems with its future? No, because when I look to the left of me and I see Felix Roy and I see Alex Payne, I know we are in good hands. They are the current Rookie of the Year, because we already know that Alex Payne, you've wrapped that up, and it's Felix Roy who did it a year ago. So Alex, let's start with you. What an incredible first year running the series full-time. What's it been like?
Oh, it's been something else. It's been an experience for sure. You know, I'm used to the weekly racing and the sportsman cars where I came from, and the competition here is like no other. So it sure taught us.
I mean, momentarily keeping it on Alex here, you got your first win at Brockville. To get that first win, What was that moment like? Because everyone always says your first one is the sweetest, and then to be able to do it on a stage like Brockville.
Yeah, I always thought, they're just so hard to win. And, when we made that happen, it's some days I still don't want to believe it. But no, it's really cool that we got that out of the way, and I'd like to add some more to the count.
Let's stay with that Brockville theme and switch gears now to Felix Roy, who was last year's Rookie of the Year. North of the border, comes from Canada, won the Canadian Big Block Series Championship this year, and actually won the small blocks, the 358s this year for the DIRTcar UMP Modifieds. And Brockville didn't start off so good, did it? Didn't start off in championship form.
Yeah, I mean, with the Super DIRTcar Series, we ran pretty good at Brockville. We had a 6th place finish, but then with the Fall National, we had a bad luck, and yeah.
You barrel rolled. That's what I was getting towards. Can you even put that into words for any of us that will never set foot in a race car? What an experience like that feels like.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster going slow motion. I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It was my second time having a big crash, but first time wasn't that bad, and that one was pretty wild.
All 4 left again. You were actually, well, did you look at sky or did you look at ground more?
No, I had my eyes closed.
That's probably smart. That is absolutely smart.
I was going to say the health of, big block and small block racing in the Northeast right now is great. You have opportunities to go race regionally at racetracks for championships while still stationing Super DIRTcar Series. And Felix, staying with you, you embarked on your second season here with the Super DIRTcar Series. Was it easier the second time around, now having 1 year behind you? And what was your biggest challenge coming from that first year?
Yeah, it was, we had 1 year in the bag, so it was easier when we go back to them same track we went the year before, so it definitely helped. And we had couple good runs, and mostly the second half of the season was pretty good for us, and yeah, we're looking to finish strong here in Charlotte.
Expectations, though, obviously you get a full year under your belt and you okay, I've kind of got this down to a science now, you think, right? So you set a bar here. Did you find those expectations harder to meet, or were they maybe a little bit easier in year 2?
Yeah, it was good. I was expecting to be a top 10 championship, and we're currently 9th. We were 7 before Super Dirt Week, but bad luck and stuff put back us back at 9th. But we're looking forward to fight for the championship again. And last year we got 13, so definitely better this year.
And then continuing that trend, with your rookie season, what expectations when you guys embarked on it? Obviously, you guys wanted to chase that rookie title. You now have it. What expectations did you guys set? Did you guys exceed those this year?
I feel like, we want to come in and just have some solid runs, and hope for some good top 10s and whatnot. I was hoping to be in the top 10 in points, and we had a shot at 5th for a while there. I think we're too far out now. We're sitting at 6th, so if we hold our own this week, I'll be really happy with that.
But you've been competitive all season long. How have you been able to stay that way?
It's been tough. I think the repetition of making sure everything's maintained right, and we have great equipment, great car owners. I can't thank all the people enough to get us here, and it takes a lot. It takes a big group, and the consistency is definitely the hardest thing. It's nice to knock a couple wins down, but when you can run top 10s, that's just what puts your year together.
Now, this question for both of you, but we'll start with Felix. Charlotte is an outlier. This is not like any of the racetracks that we see that you guys race with. Even the dirt, so different. How difficult is it coming to the end of a season to a racetrack that realistically, if you don't have a notebook from Charlotte, you're kind of starting from scratch? How difficult is Charlotte?
Yeah, for sure. Charlotte's definitely a different track, and with the red clay, almost red clay, and fun track. It's racy track, and I like coming here, and not just the racing, but all around is really nice too, and the happening, and yeah, it's nice. And we went here last year. We had a rough end of the season, but I feel like this year is gonna be good.
Alex?
Yeah, it's there's not much like it. We don't get this way a whole lot with this clay, like you said, and I think the biggest thing here is there's so many tire combinations for us. I mean, I've been here 3 times, and I've been on every single tire you can possibly run a Hoosier on, so it all depends on where we go tonight. We run last, so we might be looking at some harder tires depending on what the surface is like. But it's just never the same, like you said, and it's very tough if you don't have an idea coming into it.
I think that's one thing that I love about the Super DIRTcar Series. For people that aren't familiar, is there are so many things going on with the Super DIRTcar Series between your qualifying points. You're the only one that get qualifying points. You guys are the only one that get heat race points also, plus all of your tire compounds. I mean, there's a lot of things on the line every single time these guys hit the racetrack.
Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about age. Of course, a guy that's getting older loves to talk about the youngsters. Alex, you are?
19.
Felix, 19 as well?
Yeah, 19.
My goodness, I don't even remember what the hell I was doing at 19, let alone trying to figure out how to drive in a competitive national touring series. So, where does your racecraft come from? Where'd you learn all this crap?
My dad used to race, so that's where the passion came in and transferred me that passion and started racing go-karts and all that. And after that, ran slingshots and sportsmen, and now we're in the big blocks. And it's always been a dream for me to be a Super DIRTcar Series driver, and really happy we're about to accomplish that. And yeah.
For me, same, similar thing. It's been a family thing. My grandpa in the 70s and my dad in the 2000s, and now me. And like he said, this has always been my dream. And to sit here and be competitive with it is just, it's awesome.
And now with both of you having Rookie of the Year titles under your belt, we get ready to embark on the 2025 season. Someone else is going to join the Super DIRTcar Series and contend for that title. You've both done it now. What would be your advice to potentially another youngster coming in on how to survive your rookie season with the Super DIRTcar Series? We'll let you start, Alex.
I don't know. It's we thought about doing it last year when he did it in 23, but I just felt like I wasn't ready. I feel like we didn't have the equipment lined up. You really have to make sure that you know what you're up against and what you have, and really just the factor of if you feel prepared or not is really the best advice I could ever give.
Yeah, I need to agree with Alex. You need to have top tier equipment, and gotta be prepared for everything and go to tracks you've never been and all that. So it's all about growing the notebook, like I say, and getting there. And it's always tough the first year, but it's part of the deal.
Alex, quickly want to wrap it up with you. An opportunity to come down to the Charlotte area. So much of what happens in motorsports happens down here. You get an opportunity to visit with some folks. I know you went and saw the Shock guys.
Yeah. Bilstein Shocks are located right here, so it's really cool. We've had a partnership with them for a long time now, and they've been a huge support of us. And like you said, this is the center of motorsports pretty much. I mean, Hendrick's here, everywhere as you can think of is right here, and that's really cool for us to get the chance of a couple of days to come down here and see the people that have helped us.
2023 Rookie of the Year, that's Felix Roy out on the end. He's your 358 DIRTcar champion this year. This is the current Rookie of the Year, getting after it. Alex, Payne, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
The future, it's all right here. I know a lot of you guys have been coming here for years. Will you keep coming? Well, eventually, they'll get to become the veterans that we'll be looking to for next year's advice. We're going to step away quickly here on Raceday Live from the Sage Fruit Stage, presented by Milton Hershey School. When we come back, we're going to hit Hannah's Hotspot. We're going to be talking about the World of Outlaws case construction late models.
MD3, the most advanced body panels on the market. Aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. MD3, the #1 body choice for top dirt racers.
Since their 2001 inception, DMI Racing Components have changed the game. From open-wheel suspension, steering, and driveline components to their line of Bulldog quick change rears, they set the new standard for innovation, performance, and value. DMI and Bulldog products are backed by the best customer support in the industry with more than 150 years of race-winning experience. Let our experience help guide you to victory lane. We race, you race. Let's race together.
This beast is a 1992 Ford F-250 long bed pushing 330,000 miles now. I was dealing with some engine issues, the idle was bad, had a weird rattle noise. I came across Seafoam High Mileage. This product is amazing. The engine idles much better and no longer skips when I give it gas.
To find out more about Seafoam products and how they can help your engine run better and last longer, go to seafoamworks.com.
Tony, do you even remember how to drive one of these?
It's not something you forget. You should know that. The drive to succeed, the need to win, the desire to be a champion. And we surround ourselves with partners that believe the same. Like Tony Stewart Racing, Sage Fruit strives to be the best in all they do. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears all year long.
You can compare apples to apples, but nothing compares to a Sage Fruit apple. Winning quality in every bite.
You wanted the best, you got them for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaw.
How'd I do?
Great if you're not looking at the clock.
Sure you got that? I had to be faster than that, right? 100% NOS, zero sugar coating. New NOS, zero sugar. Get after it.
For those of you watching on Dirt Vision, welcome back to the Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, America's home for racing, as we continue our Raceday live program here from the Sage Fruit stage. Always in a moment of being able to pivot. You never really know what's going on behind the scenes. A sprawling complex with all three of the professional categories here. There's a lot of moving things happening. We're expecting Steve Arpin. We're expecting Kevin Rumley to talk a little bit of late models. We're also expecting Todd Cooney as well as Ryan Gustin. But that is none of the four. That is Jeff Hockman, who is equally important as those drivers are being on the racetrack to provide you the entertainment, because you're the guy, Jeff, that spends all year in the planning phases getting this thing put on the map.
Well, they come to see all those drivers, but it's great to be behind the scenes and be a big part of putting this on and seeing the excitement. I was just coming down here through the Midway, checking it out, and I think it's got an electricity and the excitement around it that I've never seen before here. I mean, it's not just the number of merchandise trailers, but it's everything else that's going on. It's the interaction. It's the fan experience. It's this show right here. I mean, two young drivers right there just did a great job telling their stories, and so it's really cool. I mean, it's great to be a part of it. It's great to bring all the different departments together and put on a show. I mean, because, you know, the racing's the racing, but the event is everything else.
I'll never forget, after I worked my first World Finals, I came into the office that following Monday, and there was a whiteboard. And it was, I think, 2021, and it said 2022 World Finals planning on it. And I was just shocked. Is it safe to say that 2025 World Finals planning has started on Wednesday of 24?
Yeah, we're already taking notes. We're already talking about the signage that's up and the ticket sales and the congestion right down here in front of Gate 2 that's supposed to be this warm, inviting entrance that looks like, how do you get through it? Like you need some special pass. So all the, you know, you're taking the notes and making notes. Hey, we were throwing a curveball last night. Mother Nature decided to show up. We got one division done in round 2 for Friday's qualifying, and we had to pivot. And now we're running their the late model and big block qualifying on Friday before their show. You know, but we were prepared also that if I don't know what Mother Nature's doing tonight. I don't think she bought a ticket.
No, we don't worry about that.
What's she doing here?
I'm going to say
She's
the
providing
cloud coverage
shade. I
right
can
now
promise you
is
that.
great
That's
for
nice.
us.
It's nice up here, and knock on wood, we don't have any of those issues tonight. But you're not the only one that's involved in those decisions. Take us through all the people that are involved in a decision of whether to sit it out, whether to call it, and how you go through ultimately planning what we are going to do, and that is continue with qualifying tomorrow.
Because it's not the Dirt Vision pit reporter, and that's my favorite thing is when I'm down there and they're looking at me and I'm like, I'm the pit reporter.
I'm just the messenger. How do you do
I mean, you got to bring all the factors in. You got to bring the fans in. You got to understand what they want to do, what's going to be best for them. You got to bring the series directors in because there's formats and there's championships being run for, and there's points that are involved in qualifying. You bring them in, and then you bring all the whole operations team. You know, how are we going to move people out of here? Do we want to put them under the grandstand? We have a meteorologist that's on call 24/7. We're talking to him. Do we have a window? Is it worth the wait? We're talking to the track crew. You got to figure out, okay, once it does stop raining, how long does it take to drain the track? How long to run it in? You know, and you got to factor that all in because you know what? In Charlotte, we got a beautiful facility, but we also are in the middle of a very busy area, and we have a curfew. 10 p.m. on through Thursday night, and then Friday and Saturday 11 p.m. So, you know, you got to factor it all in and decide what the best choice to be made.
And a lot of it is being dealt with in this tough economy. Donny just gave a very eloquent speech about what he thinks the future of this is like. But financial consideration for the people that come, safety for the people that come too, those are a factor into your decisions. Maybe not last night, but sometimes in those early midweek cancellations.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, they're driving a long way, hard-earned dollar, you know, a lot of bucket list. You know, some people, this may be their only vacation. You know, you got to give them the experience that they want and the experience that they're going to want to come back. So, you know, factor in all that in. And then, you know, if you happen to run into weather where there's lightning involved or heavy winds or rain, I mean, you got tents here, you know, heavy wind, you know, we just dealt with it at Super Dirt Week. We were losing scaffolding towers. We were losing tents. We had to rebuild the facility overnight. I say the facility, but...
That reminds me, I remember being a pit reporter back with TNN, the Nashville network, for those youngsters that don't remember that. That goes back in the late 90s. And being on the infield at the Knoxville Nationals, and keep in mind, they take all of the haulers out, and everybody brings every piece and part that they could think of and put it on the ground so that way the front rows can see from the back stands and the front stands. Well, a tornado was forming over in the Indianola area, and we're obviously in a shutdown. And I remember saying to our TV crew, well, what do you want us to do? And they're like, well, just sit tight down there. I'm like, in and amongst all of these wings, and if there's a tornado coming, I'm like, oh, heck no, I'm getting the heck out of there. So that's a consideration you were talking about as well.
I mean, you know, if you see something
projectiles,
coming,
they become.
I mean, I'll use Peevely last year, or yeah, it was last year, Peevely for Ironman. It was sunny. It was 3 o'clock. Every indication was there was going to be red at 6 o'clock. Red, big storm coming. And checked with the meteorologist, and he said, yeah, it's coming. If you have a chance to get people out of there, get them out of there. So we made a decision in a beautiful day with the sun out to cancel that evening, and come to find out they flipped an 18-wheeler because of a tornado that was a mile away from the racetrack. So, you know, tough decisions, but good decisions are what make the event successful too.
And we just came off of a very successful event, World Short Track Championship, which I had the honor of being a part of. And a lot of race fans double down. They came last week. They hung out with us for that. They're back again this week, and that kind of kicks off the festivities. For those that are unfamiliar, 11 different classes, over 500 cars. We took over the drag strip with everything from Hornets to small blocks to 602 and 604 late models, you name it, and you'd mention it. We're already working on expanding that. I can't imagine, how do you even find places to park? Where are we going to put cars next year?
Well, there is an entrance. If you go down halfway down the drag strip, I already asked the question. You know, our Dirt Vision folks helped us out with some great drone footage last week. We took some photos, but if we have to, we can go on the west side of the drag strip. We can run a roadway right across the drag strip and bring them right into the east side and then up the hill and go racing. So let's find 700 cars.
I mean, if you ever get a chance to come to this event, it truly is spectacular. And my favorite thing is pit parking, because there's no upper pit, lower pit with series. You've got, you know, a $2-3 million hauler with a brand new 604 in it, and then you've got Dave that owns his Hornet parked right next to him, and it's just such a cool event to go. There was a lot of tears in Victory Lane as well, which I just loved the emotion and the excitement for these guys to win at Charlotte. And these guys have the same excitement. To win here is huge.
And you know what? I don't know how much I can really say. Maybe you can talk about it a little bit too. If you're thinking about coming back for Charlotte next year, you might be thinking about Verbo. You might be thinking about something long-term, because there's some great plans for next year that includes the World Short Track, includes some other things. There could be as many as, 3 consecutive weekends of racing this time next year.
That's right. We're talking about it. Let's we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, but there's definitely 2 weeks. So start planning there, and then you can expand. But
watch the socials, baby. Watch the socials.
I mean, World Short Track was really, built for the weekly racer and the weekly racer championship. So those drivers getting the opportunity to drive on the big stage. It also was a great testing ground for us to get ready for World Finals. But it's really become its own animal, and now it's actually a big part of 2 great races, 2 great weeks of racing here in Charlotte.
Your phone's in your pocket. It's been going off this entire time. Everybody needs you here. Thank you for filling in with us, Jeff.
Thank you. Hopefully the drivers show up.
From the World Racing Group. And with that, we will again pivot. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll find out who we found and tell you a little bit more about them when we come back to Raceday Live from the Sage Fruit Stage.
There are a number of outcomes that we want students to achieve after they complete a career technical education program. One of the first outcomes is to have employability skills. We start as early as the elementary division, where students are exposed. We allow students in the middle division to explore, and we want students in the senior division to practice. The opportunity to practice those skills throughout the course of their high school career is critical.
When you're an outlaw, racing is a way of life. We embrace life on the road, the good and the bad, and all the nights in between. But the best part of being an outlaw for 28 years has been sharing this life with my family and our fans. It's because of you that I'm proud to be forever an outlaw.
The 10-time champion from Fargo, North Dakota.
Pick up our latest gear at the track near you or from my online store at store.donnyschatz.com.
Since 2016, DIG Race Products has had a sole focus on Northeast dirt modified shocks and suspension tuning. Located centrally in New York, DIG is the industry leader in at-track shock and setup support. This hands-on, at-the-track approach is what guides the design and development in delivering the highest quality shock absorbers to the dirt oval track market. Take your program to the next level and feel the difference on DIG.
If this is your idea of ladylike, you're gonna fit right in. Join us at Toyota Racing.
This is my 2017 Ford Edge with 123,000 miles. Recently, it became sluggish with a slight drop in gas mileage. It was recommended I add seafoam motor treatment in the gas every few weeks. After a few months, there was a noticeable improvement in the power, and it's more responsive when I give it gas. Happy customer here.
To find out more about Seafoam products and how they can help your engine run better and last longer, go to seafoamworks.com.
Raceday Live from the Sage Fruit Stage is happening. Thanks to our folks from Milton Hershey School for making it happen. Moments away from getting race cars fired up here for day 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals. And talk about the ultimate pivot. It is happening right now. Gone are the chairs, and occupying 4 mics are 6 people, because we have found all of our players. And from me on down the line, we've got Ryan Gustin and Todd Cooney that are out there on the racetrack making it happen. And of course, the guys that are making it happen are Steve Arpin and Kevin Rumley. That's Hannah Newhouse. She knows all of these guys very, very well. Why don't you kick this interview segment off?
Yeah, if you know these guys also, I feel like I need a pay raise to hang out with some of these guys each and every weekend. But it's a really exciting time here to be in dirt late model racing, very healthy, and a lot of cool things getting ready to go in 2025. So before we get there, we'll kind of start with this weekend and with Kevin Rumley in 2024, a reunion, a pairing. Yourself and Jonathan Davenport coming together with a team that you guys have had so much success. You guys just went to East Alabama this last weekend. JD back behind the wheel of your car. Was it a guinea pig situation that you knew you needed someone to try stuff with? And I know you got a hole to kind of dig yourself out of with last night's qualifying, but what's it been like working with JD again?
Yeah, JD is awesome. We're very close, remain close over the years. He's a good friend of mine and a very, very, very good driver. So to be reunited with him, and hopefully we learn something, have a little bit of fun. We had a little altercation with an infield tractor tire last night, so got a little bit of a hole, but we got the best person behind the steering wheel to get us out of it.
My favorite thing is when the drivers claim that those Uke tires jump out and get them. I'm like, I don't know. I watched that qualifying lap. But Steve, it's starting to get into silly season. We're starting to get the news of 2025. And of course, yourself with Longhorn, you guys just made the announcement. Brandon Overton coming to Longhorn, driving with you guys next year on a national tour. What was that decision like, and how excited are you to work with Brandon closely like that?
Well, first off, I think it's been a silly year.
Yeah.
I think silly season started all the way back in January this year. So, no, but we couldn't be more thrilled. Brandon Overton's been a part of the Longhorn family since I got involved. And honestly, just so much of what he does, so much how he carries himself at the racetrack. Ethan Dotson's like family to us, and Brandon Overton called a couple of years ago. He's like, hey, send that modified driver over here to Charlotte. He needs to get in my late model. And that's the first time Ethan drove a late model. Look where he's at today, right? So I've always thought the world of Brandon, and we just really set our sights this year, and we wanted to build a race team. And when we looked at Brandon, it's like that guy really needs a full team around him. He used to call me trying to negotiate prices on A-arms and stuff, trying to make every dollar go as far as he possibly could. And if we could take a lot of that off his plate and put these guys around him to work on the race car, to take care of all those details, just let him focus on being a race car driver, I think it's going to be exciting to see what he's capable of.
So we've seen the success in modifieds and late models. And one more before I send it down there, another announcement, and I don't know if this is a Steve question or more of a Kevin question, Longhorn Dynamics also. So another expansion here of Longhorn to add to that success aspect. What is Dynamics, and what can people expect from it, especially the drivers?
Honestly, the biggest thing that we see when we talk to all of our customers is so many people need so much one-on-one help, right? The sport has become so competitive. All these teams, there's so many great teams like Todd and Ryan, what they've done this year, all these teams are maximizing so much of what these cars are capable of, that if you're not someone that races each and every week and has a full crew behind you, you just don't have access to that kind of information. So we really wanted to find the right people, put them in place. We've got Joe Matthews and Matt Langston heading up the Dynamics division over there. And ultimately their role is to basically gather all the information that we're able to acquire as a chassis manufacturer and help all of our individual customers, give them what they need to get the best performance that they're capable of.
And this was an announcement, this 2-car team of Todd and Ryan that we brought to you last year on our Sage Fruit stage. And let's start with you, Todd. It obviously hasn't gone the way you wanted it to. You were able to get this season started, but sometimes really health comes to the forefront, and that's the reason you're not behind the wheel of a car. How are you feeling these days?
I feel really good. Everything happens for a reason, and I wasn't ready to step aside, but I was okay doing it. We got Ryan driving, and he's doing a phenomenal job. I couldn't be happier.
I remember watching these guys at the Boone Speedway, Marshalltown Speedway in the late 1990s when I was cutting my teeth in all of these things. So it's great to see you guys again. But now you guys get to pool your assets, and all those arrows go in your quiver, Ryan. Not exactly the way you probably want it, but hey, listen, you can take whatever advantage you can out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm in the best situation right now than I have been in a number of years for sure. I got great motors, great race cars, great people around me that are able to work with and make things happen. So I think next year is going to be even better.
It's been a great year for you. You got 5 wins. You doubled up your previous career best all in this year. You got to 10. There's only been 24 World of Outlaw late model drivers that have hit the double-digit numbers. So analyze your season as a whole.
It started out a little bit slow. Like I said, it was a brand new team at the beginning of the year. We didn't have a truck and trailer in, what was it, November, December, whatever, so.
Yeah, when we announced this last year, we didn't have a truck, we didn't have a trailer, we didn't have cars, we didn't have motors, we didn't have anything.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a big step, big learning process. I'd never been in a different type of late model a long time outside of a rocket, different shocks, different springs, different motor, so it was, it took some getting used to, but I felt like once we got things rolling and we got these Infinity chassis, it's been really good.
That 10th win coming at the Bayou Classic, you talk about a bittersweet moment. If we go back to somebody we look up to, a hero, a mentor, a guy who made the wheels turn for all of us in the central Iowa region, Carl Moyer. He's on the side of your car, Carl Chevrolet. We did lose Carl in September. In fact, might have been the night you were celebrating in Victory Lane. What kind of impact does that leave in the central Iowa racing area?
I mean, he was a huge deal there, where we're from, and obviously Todd was able to talk more about that. He had a much closer relationship than I did with him, but I definitely can't thank him for everything he's done for me. Hopefully we can keep everything going and move on.
Great car dealer, perhaps an even better human being. He was involved in everything. The IMCA sponsoring super trucks, so much more. Straight line racer as well. But that's going to be a big loss for sure.
Oh yeah, Carl was he was definitely one of a kind. He was probably the most giving person I ever met. When we started this deal last year, I walked in and I called him on the phone. I said, "Hey, you got time?" He said, "Always got time for you. Come on in here." So I walked in there and I said, "Hey, I got this crazy idea that I want to go race with the Outlaws next year." And he's like, "What do you need?" And I told him, he's like, "Consider it done. I'm on board." I mean, it was literally a 5-minute conversation. It was a done deal and it was on board. And then this year, I go to him and say, "Hey, I want to bring Ryan Gustin on to race with us this year." He said, 2 cars? I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Tell me what you need." I mean, he's just that guy. Anything you needed, if he believed in you, he would do anything he could for you.
Our continued best to his family.
Yes.
And it's always been fun, the family aspect of the sport. But I will say, Todd, I love covering you as a driver, but there's nothing more fun than seeing Todd, the car owner, come running down the front stretch when Ryan wins and the celebration that comes with it. I'm not sure Todd doesn't actually celebrate harder than Ryan, because we know Ryan just bleeds emotion, I say with such heavy sarcasm. Todd, I almost want to do the climb out sometimes. But nonetheless, you guys now have a season under your belt. We're getting ready to put a pin in it. 2025. Ryan, I can kind of start with you. What does that look like? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Things are looking great. We've been struggling here a little bit these last couple of weeks. Once we get back to where we were at, I feel like we're going to be on point and hopefully win even more races and be contending for a title this time next year.
And back with the World of Outlaws, confirming that?
Yes.
2025. You heard it here. Ryan Gustin back with the World of Outlaw, Case Construction late models next season. And Todd, can you teach Ryan here how to do a celebration? I'm expecting some dancing, some emotion. Give me anything.
No, but he does. He definitely takes it for granted. I get pretty excited. So, especially in the infield.
Now I'll come back down here to Steve and Kevin. We talked about it a little bit earlier. A whole Kevin that you guys kind of have to dig yourself out of. Charlotte, a home game for both of you. I mean, you're basically my neighbor. You guys are right up the road from me. How nice with all of the travel. I know you come to a lot of races as well. The Sixes about ran a full season this year. You've been a lot of traveling. How nice is it to be able to go home each and every night and sleep in our own beds when we're gone a lot?
Yes, when the hauler got on 85, I don't even think it got in high gear good here. So it's so refreshing to race close to home with all our friends and families that we know forever here. So it's definitely a very special place. So hopefully we'll start deep in this heat. We're in the 3rd heat. Track will slow down a little bit by then, and like I said, we have the best in the business behind the steering wheel.
And this is about to be the busiest time possible for Longhorn. I mean, I saw 2 or 3 just chassis back there that I talked to people going, as soon as we leave here, we're going to Longhorn. Whether they're picking up a car, they're dropping one off. We talk about our busy season being during the season, but off season for you guys has got to be crazy.
I don't think there really is an off season this year, so I think our off season is realistically going to be March of next year. But no, honestly, this morning we were at the shop and we're trying to rearrange the parking lot for all the haulers that are going to be there on Mondays. So it's a great problem to have. the amount of race teams that have put their faith in our company and to use our race cars as part of their race teams it's beyond belief. It's astronomical, but it's also a huge responsibility on our part. So we got an incredible staff and all the guys over there at Longhorn that are working their tails off each and every day, and it's we're gonna on Monday morning we're starting strong and like what is it? We got a couple weeks to the Dome, and then Vado, New Mexico out at the Wild West Shootout out there is. We got PRI, Christmas, the Dome, and then we're right back racing again and start Vado and then come back to Florida.
76 days till Sunshine Nationals for World of Outlaw late models. Who's counting? Not me.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the things that are in the middle. You just did. But we talked to you back in February at the World of Outlaws Media Day. Your passion was red line on the tack, and it's still right there. How do you maintain that? People? Chemistry?
I didn't think we were supposed to be up here till 4 o'clock, and I was just got off a sponsor call, and I was getting ready to take a little power nap because it's been crazy. This week is so much fun. It is so cool to be out here in the middle of the afternoon and see so many people out here just enjoying it, getting all the merchandise, all these drivers, sprint cars, modifieds, late model guys, all their merch trailers are out here to see our sport and where it was 10 years ago to what it is today, with all these people using their vacation time, spending all this money of theirs to come out to Charlotte and be a part of this event. It's just exciting. So that's what fuels us to keep on going and be on the chip all the time.
Can't forget you're part of that championship chase too with Brandon Shepard that we're watching so tightly too. So there's a little carrot dangling as well.
So Brandon Shepard's done an amazing job. You can just tell he's a champion just from the consistency he's had all year. He has been in so many positions to take himself out of the championship, but just with his good decisions and consistency, we're leading this championship coming into it. But the other thing that I'm super proud of is to have all 3 podium spots on both national tours in Longhorn chassis. It's a huge accomplishment for our brand.
Well, congratulations on that. We know, Kevin, you got to climb out of a hole with Jonathan Davenport a little bit, but I want to quickly pivot back over here. You got to do some little climbing out of a hole yourself. Qualifying didn't go your way. I was looking at the stats. For some reason, Charlotte and you just haven't meshed yet.
Yeah, we haven't had a very good relationship so far. I think we start 4th row in the 5th heat. So like I said, hopefully the track slows down a little bit where we can move around, hopefully pick off a couple and get ourselves in the show. If not, get positioned good in the B main to where we don't have to rely on that provisional. But like I said, we're in a pretty close points battle too ourselves there. I mean, we could end up 6th leaving here. We're in 4th right now, so we got to put our best foot forward and see what we can do.
That's a $50,000 difference between 4th and 6th.
Yeah.
I'm sure your owner's not over here reminding you of that, is he?
No, he's not. He don't put much pressure on me. I put more pressure on myself than anything, but it's my job to perform, and hopefully it all works out.
And I was going to say, are you going to be more aware of where those other drivers are? Or I feel like you're always cool, calm, and collected. I unfortunately have been in the situations where, you guys have had just some hard knock luck. There was one point where I remember saying verbatim on the broadcast, if Ryan Gustin didn't have bad luck, I'm not sure he would have any luck at all, because you guys would have that speed. But that's re-racked. You found momentum. You've had success as of late. Are you now paying attention to where those guys are for that $50,000 gap? Or is it still, you know what, I'm going to run my own race. I'm going to keep myself cool, calm, and collected?
It's just go out there and drive as hard as you can and be smart and keep the fenders on it. And the way the cars fall is how they're going to fall. There ain't nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do is, like I said, put our best foot forward, and whatever happens, happens.
Are your kids here?
No, they didn't make the trip.
I see your wife, but I was going to say, she's been here, and I think most of your wins on the Outlaw Tour this year, you've had the family here. So I was going to say, I kind of dubbed them at one point as the good luck charm.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
Get them on FaceTime later.
Yeah. No, we definitely miss them, and I can't wait to get home to see them.
I guarantee all 4 of these guys' minds are already thinking about what's going on later. Kevin, you look like your mind is definitely thinking about how you're getting.
He's an engineer mind. That's my favorite part about Kevin is you get racetrack Kevin, and you walk over there and hey Hannah, how are you? And he's tinkering on stuff and he'll do his own thing. And then you get outside of racetrack Kevin, and it's like their brains switch. And I think it's a driver thing too. There's racetrack Kevin, and then there's outside of racetrack Kevin. Are you doing shock dynos in your head and control arm angles and stuff all day long, and then you get to shut it off when you leave the racetrack? Or is it just constant? You know the little mathematical meme where the person's sitting there and it's just numbers all over? That's kind of how I picture your brain sometimes.
Well, definitely to be a good racer, you have to wake up thinking about race cars, and you have to go to sleep thinking about race cars. Well, the older you get, you need a break. You need a divide so you can be more fresh and stay relevant and come up with creative ideas. So switching it off is definitely good for that.
Time to switch you guys off. Just go to work. I know you got to do some tinkering. You guys got to do some tinkering. Kevin Rumley, Steve Arpin, Todd Cooney, Ryan Gustin. That's going to wrap up Race Day Live from the Sage Fruit Stage. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be watching intently on Dirt Vision. When we come back, it will be time for pre-race for tonight's night number 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals.
Hey, Tony. Now that you're driving in straight lines, you should try one of these. It will help you turn left again.
Well, Donnie, you should try one of these. Just like the lights, when it turns green, mash the gas. You might win another championship. The drive to succeed, the need to win, the desire to be a champion. And we surround ourselves with partners that believe the same. Like Tony Stewart Racing, Sage Fruit strives to be the best in all they do. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears all year long. You can compare apples to apples,
but nothing compares to a Sage Fruit apple. Winning quality in every bite.
This is a story of grit. The kind of grit that built America. 180 years of grit reborn to help our customers win. We're the new case.
I think it's a very big deal that we have Amcus, providing us with the Amcus cutting tools throughout our series and World Racing Group. It's good that we were able to get a product in that's reliable and it does the job. If for some reason we had to cut a car apart or get access to a driver or a patient, we know that this tool here is definitely the one that we're going to work the best, get us in there quickly.
Ready to rise? To the challenge? Above obstacles. Yes! Above perceptions.
Ruttiger, implement the pass on the top lane.
Above it all.
Let's go!
If so, we're looking for you. Join us at Toyota Racing.
This or that. World of Outlaws Case Construction Equipment late model drivers make their picks. Brandon Shepard. Mountains or beach?
mountains.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Donuts or bagels?
Donuts.
Potato chips or corn chips?
Potato chips.
Iced tea, sweet or unsweet?
Sweet.
Bullring or Speedway?
Bullring.
Taylor Swift or Carrie Underwood?
Wow. That's a hard one. I don't know. Taylor Swift.
Beef or chicken?
Beef.
Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights?
Days of Thunder.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
You spend thousands of hours on the road.
Can he do it again?
Feel hundreds of horses under the hood. But every race, lap, and victory you get starts at zero. New NOS, zero sugar. Zero sugar, 100% NOS, get after it.
MD3, the most advanced body panels on the market. Aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looks so good. MD3, the #1 body choice for top dirt racers.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt Shepard, driver of the 9S.
He is the 10-time and defending Super DIRTcar Series champion, car number 9S, Super Matt Shepard.
For everyone watching at home, stop online to mattshepard9s.com and pick up all your 9S merchandise as well as Sweet Victory apparel. Keep you looking your best on and off the racetrack.
There are a number of outcomes that we want students to achieve after they complete a career technical education program. One of the first outcomes is to have employability skills. We start as early as the elementary division where students are exposed. We allow students in the middle division to explore, and we want students in the senior division to practice. The opportunity to practice those skills throughout the course of their high school career is critical.
You're watching coverage of the World of Outlaws World Finals at the Dirt Track at Charlotte. It's the culmination of a year-long pursuit of excellence, measured by wins and championships. Success, however, is relative. For most competitors, this is their livelihood. They endure the grind of a season fueled by grit and determination just to make it to the finish line. We salute them all and are grateful to bring their stories to you. Dirt Vision is home to the greatest shows on dirt.
Racing, it is time for our Dirt Vision pre-race show. We are back for night number 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals from the Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Fresh off of the Sage Fruit stage, we welcome you now to the Midway here at the Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Next to me, Connor Wade from the NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Of course, from the late models, it's Hannah Newhouse and Rich Fleck, who's been doing a bang-up job on the Super DIRTcar Series. Guys, I'm glad to see that none of you melted in last night's raindrops.
Well, we normally have a shower of big block power, but tonight, or last night, we just had a little bit of showers, but have no fear. We still have more qualifying, but that's for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
We figured everything out for Thursday night, last night, and we're ready to go with the first of 3 nights of action, and even some interesting stories that we're going to get into of drivers that did pretty well last night but had some work to do this afternoon.
And for those drivers or anybody that was in the Charlotte area that went to bed early last night, it rained till about 5 a.m. in Concord, North Carolina. So this
was a good night of sleep for sure.
Yeah, this racetrack is going to be pretty wet, especially early on in the night. Something all these drivers are going to have to deal with.
And I know there was a couple race fans that probably did see the rain till 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's just kind of what comes with being here at World Finals. But cloud coverage, as you can see, getting ready to kick off Thursday night's portion. The temperature has definitely started to get cooler throughout the evening. The track crew's been really hard getting everything prepped, but it's going to be a wet racetrack, and these cooler temperatures, this cloud coverage is definitely going to throw a curveball for some of our drivers.
And remember, no hot laps tonight, no time trials. We go right into heat racing. So, yeah, we're going to have those wet conditions, but we're not going to burn off the racetrack at all like we do all year long.
Well, let's kick off our coverage tonight, and we start by talking about the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, the only cars that were able to get both qualifying sessions in. Connor, and how about David Gravel doing it not once but twice, getting the job done, showing that he is intent on securing this championship, possibly as early as tonight.
David told us yesterday that he feels less pressure coming into this World Finals, having the point lead intact as opposed to World Finals before, where he was trying to make up points on Brad Sweet quit time in Thursday qualifying, then quit time in Friday qualifying for the season. That ties him with Carson Macedo for the most overall quit times with 12 each. So David Gravel starting the weekend off very, very strong. We're going to talk a little bit later on, though. Carson Macedo out with an incredible night.
No, in fact, he qualified 13th for tonight's session, and that's why it is a mathematical possibility, maybe not a probability, that a 74-point lead, should it grow to 96. That's the magic number. If David Gravel leads by 96 at the end of the night, this one's done.
It is. So if David were to win this race tonight, which he's won the first night of the World Finals 6 times before, if David were to win and Carson would have finished 12th or worse, that would officially wrap up the title mathematically for David Gravel.
Couldn't have started worse for Macedo, too. You come out in qualifying, you just want to go fast like he's been doing all year long, and suddenly you're 13th looking under the hood.
I almost feel like it's a sense of deja vu in some weird way, because his season kind of started this way as well. Didn't have a great jump to himself at DIRTcar National, had that opportunity following DIRTcar National to kind of go back to the drawing board, take that break, and then restart their season. Well, it's a condensed version of deja vu here, not having the start of World Finals that they want to, but nonetheless, I can't decide as a driver if I would want to be on the attack mode or the defense, right? Do you want to be David Gravels knowing, hey, you can't have any mistakes because you've got someone chasing you? Or do you rather be in the attack mode like a Carson Macedo and go, hey, realistically speaking, I have everything to gain and nothing to lose, and I got to lay it all out there? Which one comes with more pressure?
I think in his position, being so far out, this is not a spot where he can really control his own fate. David Gravel has to make multiple mistakes to lose this championship. So really, Carson goes into last night and goes, man, this is just the way it's going to round out after an extremely great fall of running up in the front, winning so many races that you saw, Connor. This maybe even makes him a little bit more comfortable in knowing that, hey, if it's not to be, it's not to be this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Carson overall is really happy with the season they put together, especially what they've accomplished late that we've talked about. And they're going to have a lot of momentum going into next season. I think if you're Carson, realistically, all you can try to do is win, right? If you win all 3 nights, then whatever happens to David happens points-wise, and maybe somehow you have a shot. So I really think all they're trying to focus on is doing exactly what they've done a lot of the last couple months, and that's throwing to victory lane 3
We'll
times.
give you a preview of what these heat races are going to look like tonight that, again, will begin to tell the tale. There were no points awarded for qualifying in the World of Outlaws sprint cars. All those points are awarded at the end. Of course, every lap matters, though, this weekend because it does set up the program for the rest of the week. In fact, we're going to start it right now. Obviously, David Gravel is on the pole thanks to himself being in the quick time position. Meanwhile, as we look further on through some of these fields, we know that, again, Carson Macedo was behind the 8 ball. He was only 13th best in his session.
Yeah, for sure. Heat race number 2 going to be very interesting, obviously, with Ryan Timms on the front row. He's been good in that new 10 car. How about heat race number 3? Logan Schuchart, incredible last night in qualifying, setting quick time for Flight B for Thursday night. He needed a big jolt like that after having some struggles here as of late.
And no, that is not a typo. We'll have more on Ricky Thornton Jr. behind the wheel of a sprint car here in just a little bit. We take a look at the 4th heat race. But, Hannah, I want to spend some time with you. On the Sage Fruit stage just a few moments ago, we had the most veteran guy you can have, Donny Schatz, up on the stage, and he was very enlightening in talking about the state of the union, especially about things going forward now. Donny is such a wonderful guy. Maybe hasn't had the year he's wanted to, but nobody's going to count him out here this weekend.
And you can never count him out on being completely candid with you and the race fans and anyone.
And tastefully as well, absolutely.
Yeah, if you want an opinion, you want a true one, you just go straight to Donny Schatz, and he'll absolutely shoot you straight. That's why I've never asked him what my hair looks like on air.
I learned that this year.
Yeah. Connor's had to deal with that, but it's been great to see, Donny. But he once again told us he put himself in a hole here in qualifying. He's not happy with how that's going to go. We love watching Donny Schatz dig himself out of a hole. It's phenomenal watching him maneuver, get those hard chargers. But man, that's got to be a frustrating aspect of things when you're constantly putting yourself in that position night in and night out, but he's had to do the work.
Well, let's again hear from Donny Schatz as we checked with him pit side earlier today.
We qualified horrible. So if we don't get through those heat races and we don't get through those don't get in the show, which is highly likely with as many good cars are here and the way we're operating, it could dig us a hole. And all it takes, you could gain 40, 50 points in one night in one feature. So don't say that third's there yet, even though it's 100 above. It's right now, I kind of feel like that's what my job is this weekend, to do whatever the hell I have to do to salvage running third, which that's what you do. No matter how mad you are, no matter how upset you are. When you put the helmet on, you got to be that person that just continues to do what you do. And if it's past cars, it's past cars. If it's start up there and make sure you make great laps and do the right things, and that's what it takes. So I enjoy that part of it. I was just raised that way. That's when I started, my father made me start at the back for that very reason. He didn't want me, to get that in my mindset that you got to start there. But sure as hell helps in today's environment.
And sometimes we see that sprint car veteran jump into a late model, but how about the late model veteran that jumped into the sprint car this weekend?
And at this point, he'll jump in just about anything with wheels and a motor, that driver being Ricky Thornton Jr. He's here not contending for any championship with the late model and said, why not try my hand for the 3rd time behind the wheel of a sprint car here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He had some testing here last week. He's excited, posted a stellar qualifying lap and slates himself well for those heat races. We were able to catch up with Ricky Thornton Jr. earlier this afternoon in the pit area, and here's what he had to say.
I feel all right. We luckily enough was able to come test a couple times here last week, and all by myself. So I figure by myself I feel decent. See how we do once we get behind a bunch of cars to get some dirty air and stuff like that. Really, my goal for this week's kind of to make the show, and anything after that's a bonus. Obviously I felt like we qualified really good in the sprint car, being 5th that first group, and we start 3rd in our heat race. So I think probably the biggest thing for me is just don't do something dumb right off the get-go and lose a bunch of spots or something crazy like that. obviously, if we at least get to show through the heat race and then try to run top 10 in the future, I think it will be a really successful night for us. In the late model, we ended up third, so we started on the pole of our heat race. Hopefully we can win that one, get in the redraw, and have a good shot at least to win the feature. The racing here is really good. The guys are all, I think 1/10 is about 10 positions qualifying, so everyone's on top of each other, and hopefully we can have a really good night.
And Ricky Thornton Jr. was a player in last year's late model races as he won 2 of them here. We'll see how he handles it against the rest of the Case World of Outlaw Case Construction drivers as we pivot to that category. 3 drivers, 1 championship. Can't split it.
No, you can't. Again, it kind of looks like the sprint car landscape in the sense that there's definitely some mathematical aspects that have to go into play. Brandon Sheppard sits very comfortably right now as that points leader, but there is a mathematical chance for both Bobby Pierce and Nick Hoffman to catch and or pass Brandon Sheppard in that. It has to go perfect for both Pierce and Hoffman, and man, Sheppard's going to have some really bad luck.
1 qualifying session. How about the guy that had to make the 117-mile drive from Gray Court, South Carolina? He was supposed to have been retired, but he's back behind the wheel of a late model, and it's Chris Madden that's the #1 qualifier.
They should write a book about Chris Madden's 2024 year. I mean, came back on his retirement tour, was supposed to just run this season, and was going to go for a championship. That last-ditch effort at the championship. Had some health issues earlier in the spring, came off of tour, decided to just run kind of on a regional level. Got the opportunity to crew chief for Ricky Thornton Jr., did that for the remainder of the Lucas Oil season, and now said, hey, all right, I'm good, I'm ready to go, and did not miss a beat. Teamed up with G.R. Smith in the 2022, or the 22 Incorporated ride, got back behind the wheel of a 44, and man, no beats were missed. Quick time overall, and hey, Chris Madden's great here at the dirt track.
And let's not let Jordan Kohler's qualifying group in Group B go without notice as well. This is a guy whose history here at Charlotte, well, wasn't good till last night.
No, absolutely, and he's part of that Kohler compound, right? He's got his brother Evan Kohler next to him, Ricky Thornton Jr. on the other side of him,
obviously
Jimmy
chipping
Owens.
in, yeah.
Yes, so he's got an ample notebook to be able to draw from, and Jordan had the opportunity to come here last week for World Short Track Championship, raced a modified, got that experience. So, you know, he's a local guy. He's from Mount Airy, right up the road. He's kind of grown up around this area, and I talked to him even yesterday after qualifying, and he said, I still feel like I had more in the race car, and on a stage this big, that's a great feeling to have as one of these young drivers that I think we'll expect to probably see on a national tour level in the next couple of years.
We've got graphic proof of just how good he is, and let's roll that beautiful bean graphic, if you will, to show you that the last 5 times he's been here, he hasn't even mustered a 20th or better start. So all of a sudden, that average Conor just got a hell of a lot better.
It absolutely has, and obviously benefiting a lot by coming here the second time. And Kohler's a guy, we always talked about how valuable drivers are that race a lot and try their hand in several different types of cars and stuff. And Jordan's one of those guys. I remember covering him at Sunshine Nationals in 2023. I believe it was one of his first super late model starts on the national scene, and he was really impressive. But just the improvement from then, and I think one of the things that's helped him is going and running modifieds quite a bit. His family owns a racetrack. He can turn laps there or run local shows there. I think he even does some great late model stuff. So he's a guy that's really benefited from a lot of seat time over the last 2 years.
But of course, the focus is how are our championship contenders stacking up tonight? We all thought that it was maybe going to be Nick Hoffman with all the number of laps he's got here that's going to be the one to keep your eye on. But somehow the guy who's put together the best year overall, maybe not the points leader, all of a sudden Bobby Pierce is the guy who could gain some points tonight.
And I don't think that was to anyone's surprise, right? You look at the season he had last year, and it was him and RTJ neck and neck as the best late model drivers in the country. And then, you know, statistically on paper, his World of Outlaw season maybe hasn't been the best with wins in comparison to last season. But he has a USA Nationals win. He has a PDC win. He won the World 100. He won at Pennsboro. He won the Gopher 50. He's racked up these huge wins. The momentum's there. And then what do? Well, you take your best car that performs the best, that being your Eldora car. You know, he just came off a crown jewel win. That Eldora car is the car that he has here. It's the same motor, same everything. They've got the speed behind it. They're confident. So, you know, Bobby wanted to maybe walk away with the championship early in January, February when the season got started. But he even said the challenge that they've had to overcome this season to walk away with a back-to-back championship would be huge to him.
Well, let's break down Thursday qualifying graphically to show you where our 3 championship contenders start. Keeping in mind there is a 6-heat program coming your way tonight where only the top 3 transfer, only the winner goes to the redraw. Bobby Pierce is going to start on the pole of heat race number 2. Meanwhile, Nick Hoffman's going to start 3rd in the 5th heat race. Brandon Sheppard, he's going to start 4th with a stacked field in front of him.
Man, if this isn't the tale of Brandon Sheppard's season, I mean, he just can't seem to, I don't want to say get out of his own way, but just get the momentum going early on in the evening. And it's like a Donny Schatz situation. We love to watch Brandon Sheppard work his way through the field. I know he would much rather find himself in the draw each and every night, being part of that, the redraw, those heat races up front, winning those. But Brandon Sheppard just can't seem to get that momentum going early enough in this season. But he always seems to find himself in the top 3, top 5, and that's how he finds himself here in that points lead. He broke a winless streak and didn't even win till Thunder Hill this year, which is crazy to think. We almost went a solid 365 days without seeing a Brandon Sheppard in victory lane, but nonetheless, that just shows his ability, his expertise. He knows how to position himself, not make those mistakes unless they're out of his control. And you know, he's got some work to do tonight. He's got a chance to requalify on Friday, but nonetheless, Brandon Sheppard will be one to watch.
Rich Fleck, I know you focus on the big blocks, but I'm going to tell you about Brandon Sheppard's heat race. It will be the 3rd one coming up tonight. He's got Ricky Thornton Jr. on the front row. He's got Dale McDowell right in front of him. Behind him, he's got Jonathan Davenport. Behind him, he's got Brian Shirley, who's been picking him off left and right. He's going to have a hard time just getting to 3rd and getting a transfer.
Yeah, I think that's going to be real close, but again, he doesn't have to be spectacular when it comes into the weekend. He just has to be rock solid, which he's been all year long. You said Ricky Thornton, and I think that one's going to be a little unique because Ricky's going to have some time on the racetrack beforehand, being able to be out with a completely different race car, of course, but be able to feel it out, go back to his guys, tell them what they need on his standard ride in his late model. But yeah, you mentioned Brian Shirley makes a move, and next thing you know, B-Shep's in a LCS. That'd be pretty wild to see.
Let's shift gears now and talk about the Super DIRTcar Series because, again, we talked about the bonus points that were available last night. Neither one of our top 2 guys, Matt Sheppard and Matt Williamson, were able to grab them. Anthony Perego get himself a little closer to getting into that battle for the podium. But there are heat finishing points that are going to factor into this championship tonight.
Hey, we're going to start it off. Heat race number 1 for the Super DIRTcar Series is going to be the focus of the evening. Anthony Perego was quick time, so you know he'll start on the pole of heat race number 1. As it turned out, Matt Williamson was 3rd. That puts him on the outside of the front row for that heat race. And the driver that starts right now outside of the redraw would be Matt Sheppard, your points leader, that comes in with a 15-point advantage. So of those 3 drivers that we know all have speed, one of them at least will not make the redraw tonight and will start outside of the top 8. That's a big story that'll play out right when we drop the green flag.
How about Anthony Perego, by the way? What a year you guys have had. 17 different quick qualifiers, he becoming the 17th just last night.
Yeah, that's right. And keep in mind, we've only run, I think this is race number 20 now for us to be able to run with the Super DIRTcar Series. Back in March 30th, it's been a long tour for us, and he was able to pick up his lone victory on tour down at the New Egypt Speedway. He's had a nice year. He's had some other races that he could have gone to victory lane. This has been a good racetrack for him. We've got some stats to back that up. Over the last 2 seasons, the Ant-Man has usually found his way to the front here in Charlotte.
Let's quickly talk about our points championship players. I want you to make an argument for Matt Sheppard. Can he hold on despite not having the year that we're used to seeing him?
I mean, he's done it 11 times, so what makes you think that he can't do it once again? And we even had a chance to talk to him earlier in the weekend. I got the chance to sit down and do an interview with him yesterday, and he said, man, you know, we're disappointed the win count's not there, but nonetheless, the championship form is there. We may not have had the wins, but we've positioned ourselves. We've made no mistakes when it comes down to it. So the wins aren't there, but we still feel very confident in it. So track record shows he knows how to get the job done, and all he has to do is make no mistakes. He's done that basically all season long. Why would the dirt track at Charlotte be any different for it? But you can't ask for anything more than to have a full season across all 3 series literally come down to Saturday evening.
And how about Williamson collecting more money than most? He could win 3 races this weekend and still come up short.
He absolutely could. He's won a lot of races this season, so obviously as the point show, that's not been enough to this point. So if I'm Matt Williamson, I'm probably really nervous coming into this, because if you're him, you're thinking, man, I've done so much, won so much, done just about everything right, and somehow I'm still coming up a little bit short in points. So he knows how fierce he and Matt Sheppard's rivalry is, and he's going to kick it into another gear this week.
And he absolutely embraces it, which is good. And speaking of which, we asked each driver, it's just our job, we have to go ask him what the pulse is like. This was a questions that were asked to him yesterday before qualifying started, but you could see 2 different thoughts heading in to tonight's races.
With this car, we've been pretty good this year, especially later in the year. Obviously, Oswego we ran 3rd, and we were pretty disappointed with that. So I think if we come down here and run like we normally do, we'll be able to contend for a championship, and that's all you can ask for it.
Well, he always runs good down here, and typically we do too, so hopefully it's just a really good battle between the two of us this weekend.
Had mechanical problems at Weedsport, and we were running in the top 3. That's probably a 40-point swing right there, but I think that's something they'll look at over the winter to try and make wins matter a little bit more than they do. But yeah, the season's been great. We're happy. We're proud of what our accomplishments are, and you know, no matter what happens this week, I think that we got to look back and be pretty proud of it.
I mean, it's kind of been a thorn in my side. We've run really well. It just, you know, circumstances have kept us out of victory lane as much as we normally are. We ran really well down here last year, and hopefully we can repeat that again. We've run really well. It just.
And again, to reiterate, for the Super DIRTcar Series and the late models, they will get their second set of qualifying. It will come as part of Friday qualifying. But there's a story developing a little bit. Obviously, Shepard not exactly happy with where he was at the end of last night.
And after this session was done last night, they went and swapped the motors out, put a new big block power plant in between the rails of the 9S. Now, it's not something where they were concerned with the way that was performing, but the motor that they dropped in was the one they just got back. It's the one he ran last year here at the World Finals, and of course, he won 2 of those 3 features. So whatever situation it is, whether they want to get a little bit more power, this is one of the faster horsepower racetracks for us with the Super DIRTcar Series. Obviously, they want the best bullet in the holster to try to get him back to victory lane. He's won here 5 times, including the 2, as I mentioned, last year, and obviously needs every little advantage that he can get over that 88 of Matt Williamson. And keep in mind, Matt Williamson's going to start second. He's won his last 7 heat races here at the World Finals. Matt Shepard's won 4 of his last 5, and again, they're in the same heat race behind Perego.
And I know that team actually wanted to make that change last night, but with the weather in the area, that pushed that whole agenda to this morning, and nothing caught me off guard like seeing a group text come through to all of us that said, does anyone have access to a tow truck? Because your current points leader in the Super DIRTcar Series needs some assistance changing a motor down in the lower pit to be able to get that motor up and out. That was something I went, oh, uh-oh.
They didn't use a tow truck, though. They ended up going with the lift bed of Dave Rauscher's trailer to lift up the motor out of his 9S, move that one out, put it on the back of a mule to get that into place, drive it away, then get the new engine, bring it over, lift that up on the back of the toter, and drop it back in between the rails. They had all the body panels that look like a yard sale out there for Matt Shepard. And he's a driver that doesn't come in with a stacker hauler, comes in with a normal race car hauler that you would see with a local race team. They have an extra one back there, but they wanted the good power plant to make sure that he's ready to go, because starting third in his heat race is something we rarely see with the Super DIRTcar Series and Super Matt.
And they seem pretty calm down there right now, just looking off the drone shot. I think that's definitely, in some cases, might be a concern. They wanted to change it last night. Obviously, with the weather, they couldn't do that, so they had to wait till today. Our cameras went to shoot that footage of them changing the motor just an hour or 2 ago, so hopefully they got all the lines connected, got everything in right with that new motor, and it'll run. That would definitely be a big blow to them if they were to come out for their heat race and things aren't running properly. They seem pretty calm, so hopefully that's a good sign.
Rich, can I talk one other story that
Absolutely.
we've been focusing on this championship battle, and it is certainly a great one. But if you go into heats 3 and 4, you've got some unique stories developing. Jeff Taylor, a driver that's going to start on the pole in heat race number 3. He's never finished higher than 20th here in 2 appearances here at the World Finals. Sebastian Gaujean to the outside here for the first time. Driver with a lot of experience up in the province of Quebec. And then Tim Sears Jr. going for 3rd in points alongside the doctor, Danny Johnson, in his last weekend for his owner, Tim Gibson, in that ride. So there are some names that are going to be very unique. Maybe drivers we don't typically see down here at the World Finals right up near the front of the pack that are going to factor in.
Let's just stay with that theme. And is there a heat race in particular besides the one we've already highlighted that you're going to be looking intently at? Any storylines you see developing?
Well, we had a chance to talk to Alex Payne earlier up on the Sage Fruit stage presented by Milton Hershey, and he's wrapping up his Rookie of the Year, and he said, man, Charlotte itself is just a different beast. I mean, you cannot make any mistakes. He's pretty much got that rookie title wrapped up. He's good to go, but he said, we got that win at Brockville. It would mean so much for me to get to put my best foot forward starting in tonight's heat race. So no matter what, I always love watching these young guns. They get that first win at Brockville. The momentum is there. Their confidence is there. And then you put them on essentially the biggest stage that we can here in big block racing, you know, outside of Super Dirt Week here at the dirt track. And they want the chance to perform. And Alex has had a great season.
And keep in mind, this is 30 laps tonight for our feature action. Most of our tour races, 65, 75, 100. We just ran a 200-lap event. 30 laps is a very different game in the big block modified world.
What do you see coming in the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars tonight?
Last thing I want to point out before we close this out, everybody talks about championship pictures and storylines. Last year, I remember watching this race thinking the racing at Charlotte's incredible. It's going to get slick. All three features tonight are going to be really, really entertaining.
And with that, it is time to go to work. Well, you guys go to work. I'm going to head back to the studio, and we're going to put John Gibson, Mike Warren, and Ruben Morales to work as we send it upstairs, get night number 2 of the World of Outlaw World Finals underway.
Thanks so much, Dave Rieff. Race fans, good evening and welcome to the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and welcome to all of you watching at home on Dirt Vision as well as we prepare for the first competitive night of action at the World of Outlaws World Finals. Last night, qualifying 2 rounds completed for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. 1 round completed for the World of Outlaws Case Late Models and the Super DIRTcar Series Big Blocks. So they'll have their final qualifying session tomorrow afternoon, a little earlier start tomorrow. We'll go green flag on that at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But Ruben Morales, a fantastic night of action in store for us here this evening. Heat races, last chance showdowns, features for all 3 of short track racing's premier dirt track divisions.
Yeah, qualifying's always awesome, right? Because that sets the standard for your heat races. But now we get to Gorsuch Performance green flag action. These guys are leaving it all on the line now, Johnny. We got heat races. For the World of Outlaws Case Late Models, it's really intense because normally we have a top 8 redraw where we take the top 2 from each heat race. Tonight, there is 6 heat race. We have reached that over 48 car limit mark, so therefore you have to win your heat race to even consider starting in the first 3 rows with the World of Outlaws Case Late Models. Oh, and on top of that, did I even mention it's every lap matters with the World of Outlaws Case Late Models, so every lap counts here, Johnny. The intensity is rising. You can feel it in the pit area. It is time for World Finals because there's 3 drivers, 1 championship, and only one of them is going to walk out of here with the confetti.
For the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, 45 drivers signed in for action. We'll run 4 heat races this evening. Distance will be 8 laps. Top 5 finishers qualify for the feature. First and second advance to the Toyota Dash. Those 8 drivers will draw for their Toyota Dash starting positions. Toyota Dash 6 laps to determine the top 8 starting spots in tonight's 25-lap feature. We'll also run a C-Main and a 12-lap Microlight last chance showdown that will move the top 4 finishers into starting positions 21 through 24 in tonight's feature. Great look from the drone high above the sprint car pit area outside of turns 1 and 2 here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight will be the 63rd feature event to be contested here for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, dating back to May 25th of 2000. Interesting part about that inaugural feature winner from 24 years ago is in the field here this evening. We're talking about the 3-time World of Outlaws champion, Sammy Swindell.
That's pretty phenomenal, Johnny. And for the World of Outlaws Case Late Models tonight, it will be the 46th race in series history competed at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 45 races have been contested, 18 different winners, and the all-time winningest driver with the World of Outlaws here at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway is Jimmy Owens, the only driver with 7 victories. He's in the field here tonight.
So we've told you about the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, World of Outlaws Case Late Models, standing by on the stage now, getting ready for opening ceremonies. The voice of the Super DIRTcar Series, Mike Warren.
Well, thank you, John Gibson. And before we get to our invocation and anthems for this evening, it's time to meet our quick timers from last night. Getting ready for tonight's program, we'll kick things off with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. We'll bring up the points leader, the driver, the number 2, David Gravel. David, 2 quick times, and I don't think you could have had more of a perfect start here at the World Finals. Does it take a little bit of the pressure off going in, or is it still a lot as we get ready for this first heat race?
Definitely doesn't add any more. You know, just putting yourself in position on that front row of these heat races is so huge. So now we got to execute and do the next step and try to get in this dash and, yeah, go from there. So really excited with how much speed we had in this race car and, yeah, just ready to get racing.
All right, David, we wish you the best of luck. David Gravel, he will be on the pole of heat race number 1 for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Next up, we'll keep with the World of Outlaws, and Meet our quick timer for Thursday's program for the World of Outlaws Case Construction Equipment late models from Great Court, South Carolina. The driver, the number 44, Chris Smokey Madden. Chris, after watching that qualifying session last night, GR gave you a pretty fast hot rod in that 44.
Yeah, we had a good car last night, and we laid down 2 good laps, and I guess we get to do it over again tomorrow for our show tomorrow. So hopefully we can do it again and give us a good starting spot in our heat race for tomorrow's show too. So fast time today and start on the pole at the first heat. So we got to execute on that, make sure we make the right adjustments, and get this thing up front for the feature and try to get us a victory tonight.
All right, Chris, best of luck. Chris Smokey Madden going to fire from the pole in heat race number 1 for the World of Outlaws Case late models. And finally, we'll meet our quick timer for the Super DIRTcar Series out of Montgomery, New York. The driver, the Vinny Salerno-owned car number 4, the Ant-Man, Anthony Perego. Ant, very fast number 4-star car coming out the gate tonight. What are your thoughts going into this first night of racing action?
Yeah, we've been good down here in the past coming here to Charlotte, and obviously unloading off the truck to be fast time there. It's really good for us. So like Chris said there, we got to make the right adjustments in this heat race. We got 2 of the best in the business lined up right with us, so we got to make sure we get in this redraw and get after it for 30 laps in this feature.
All right, Anthony, best of luck. We'll see you a little bit later. The Ant-Man, Anthony Perego. He'll fire from the pole in heat race number 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise if you are able. And gentlemen, remove your hats as we continue with our opening ceremonies. First up with tonight's presentation of the colors, we'd like to welcome the Mount Pleasant Air Force Junior ROTC Flying Tigers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's invocation, we'd like to welcome Pastor Chris Gould from Racing with Jesus Ministries.
Let's pray. Lord Jesus, we praise you for all things. We know that you created all things. We thank you that we're able to come to the racetrack. We thank you for this great country that we live in. We thank you for the men and women who serve to protect us here and abroad. Lord, most of all, we thank you for the work that you did on the cross. Lord, we pray for tonight. We pray for a night of safety for all of our drivers involved. We lift up this night to you. We pray in your name, in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
At this time, we ask that you remain standing for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner from national recording artist Bailey Marie.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you to Bailey Marie, as that will finish up our opening ceremonies for this evening as we get ready. World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car action going to kick things off. We'll send it back up top to John Gibson.
2,500 classic races and shows anytime. at dirtvision.com or the DirtVision app. This has been a presentation of Dirt Vision, a World Racing Group property. For information about upcoming broadcasts, follow us on social media, including Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also watch more than 2,500 classic races and shows anytime at dirtvision.com or the DirtVision app.